Murder of Special Agent Gregory Knox.
Greg's dead? I didn't kill Greg. Gee, I can't believe you're doing this to me.
Believe it, Jamie. It's the right decision.
Tariq St. Patrick, you under arrest. What? For the murders of Officer Danilo Ramirez and Professor Jabari Reynolds.
All right, guys. So, I love kind of doing these little videos. I think I might actually turn this into a series, depending on how I feel and depending on how things kind of like may add up and stuff. Technically, I already did that for like 2 videos, I think. I think it's like 2 videos, but we're gonna really talk about like Tariq's whole ordeal and stuff, right? Because I am kind of like poking holes at like Power season 6. Like I am poking holes at the ending and stuff, right? Because like I said, I get it, I understand. People still gonna kind of still say he's alive and stuff, right? But I like kind of like poking holes at the idea of all these different scenarios, right? On if he would have won, if he would have lived, right? And how would it would have turned out, right? So for today's video, I had this like idea on if Ghost would have went to jail and just been like a mentor figure to Tariq in prison, right? Because the one thing about Power, they always kind of like talked about, well, I shouldn't say talked about, it's what Courtney Kemp always teases and always does, and it's starting to become like a pattern. I want to have some of you guys actually picked up on that pattern where Ghost explained, like in the early stages of Power, that basically there's only 2 ways out. There's either jail or death, right? But Tariq apparently is going to have like a third option on escaping, right? But the one thing that they've also showed is that people being falsely accused of the actual crime that they've done, but they haven't done, right? Because when you look at Kanan, he went to jail because Tasha and Ghost put him there. Then Ghost went to prison because of something that he didn't commit, and Angela thought he killed Greg Knox, which wasn't the case. And then Tariq was in prison for killing Jabari Reynolds and for Detective Ramirez. Now, Detective Ramirez wasn't him. He did kill Jabari. He did do that, but he didn't kill Ramirez and stuff. So that was kind of out. So you can say Tariq's case, it was fair and it wasn't fair at the same time, right? And then in Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, there's gonna probably be some maybe trumped up charges here and there that's gonna be the same thing. So when you think about it, it's kind of been like a repeating trend with it where people getting thrown in jail for like trumped up charges and stuff. Now it kind of like answers like that question, will we actually see a person go to jail and stuff? And should have been Ghost to be the one to have gone to jail rather than him dying and stuff, right? Because when you look at it like way back when, right? Technically, Tasha had everything under control. She was the one that ran the books. She was the one that knew everything. So when you think that it would have been an interesting plan of setting up Ghost in the long run, because okay, Tasha, was the loving wife, the supporting wife and stuff, and she never really wanted Ghost to leave the game. She never wanted him to do that. So the interesting thing would have been is if when he started cheating and all this other stuff, that even though she did threaten him at one point, but I guess she still had like this love that maybe he was gonna like not do this anymore with Angela. She still had faith in the man, but it was just way too much stuff that was going on, too much betrayal, and then it was just like, what, fuck this. Like, I want a divorce. I can't do this anymore and stuff, right? But you would think instead of her just being like the wife, she would have actually been the one to have gotten like, true revenge against him. Now, she only gotten revenge, well, not revenge, but she only kind of, snitched on him when Terry Silver died and stuff. And that's what she said, yeah, technically Ghost did it, but it wasn't really any proof of him doing it and stuff, right? But she knew that he did it, right? I was like, at the ending was fine, but I would have preferred it if there would have been like a lot of evidence built up. Now, obviously, Ghost was a smart motherfucker, so anything that she probably would have tried, he would have countered with something else and stuff, right? Because she was there with it all, but it would have made even more sense if she would have tried to like build up her own strategy and the plan and stuff, and then use Tariq to do it and stuff. Because I mean, when Ghost was choking up Terry Silver, wouldn't you think that she would have sent maybe Tariq to follow him to go, maybe take pictures or something, something to get Ghost under something and stuff. Because I was thinking, if they wasn't gonna use like the drug, well, okay, before I even get to that, I think if Jay would have did like the whole drug route and stuff, which would have been quite interesting, then obviously Tariq would have lost like his inheritance. There wouldn't have been no nightclub, there would have been no money, there would have been none of that stuff, right? But at the same time, if all of the things that went down with like Lakeisha and stuff, I think Tariq would have had to also come up with a plan for Tasha when you think about it, because Tasha did kill Lakeisha. And then there was also, the whole Lakeisha's gun type thing. And that kind of got like pushed off to the side, like, somebody just came in there and shot her and stuff, and there was no proof or evidence or any of that stuff, right? But you would think that if, in order for Tariq to protect Tasha, wouldn't he actually would have given her the charges and had her also go to jail to protect her from Tommy? If there wasn't any other way and stuff, because I'm saying like all this evidence that would have came out, the only real person they probably would have trusted with this would have been Tamika, right? Because you wouldn't trust Cooper Sacks with this shit. You wouldn't trust him. So I think the only person at the time would have been Tamika, right? But I think it would have been interesting that if Tasha would have been in prison for Lakeisha's murder, and then they would have gotten Ghost either on the drugs or maybe on Terry Silver, right? And then he would have went to jail lawful, either one of those two cases and stuff, right? And I think ultimately Tariq would have been in the game, but I think Braden would have probably lent him alone. Like, let's just say college was still on the table, right? And he wanted to go to college because maybe like Simon Stern or something in Ghost's will that forced him to still go to college, right? I felt like he probably could have gotten a loan from maybe Braden, and then maybe eventually when he got with the the Tejada family, still dealt the drugs with them, and then maybe paid off his loan to Braden and kept maybe some of the money for himself, right? If that was still a thing. But then his father would have been in prison, and then Tasha would have been in prison, and he would have been getting like maybe some lessons from them both and stuff, right? But at the same time, Ghost would be trying to like figure a way of getting out of prison, while Tasha has to still stay in there because the charges is more severe. Well, I shouldn't say it's more severe, because both charges would be severe depending on Ghost's charges and stuff. But Tasha's charges would stick because that's the gun. She killed Lakeisha with the shit, right? So I don't know, like I find that like very, very interesting if both of them would have been in prison and Tariq would have been getting like lessons from them both and stuff, like, oh, like who's these people that you're working with, this and that and stuff. But then I think over time, Ghost would have tried to like figure out like a method on what to do and how to do it and stuff. Because think about how when Kanan was in prison and Sean and Kanan was having like these prison talk, jail time, visits and stuff, I should say. They had like these little visits, and they was like, talking and stuff like, oh, don't trust Ghost, this and that. It would have probably been the same thing with Tariq, but he would have had two parents instead, and him getting like maybe advice here and there and stuff to, handle the streets and stuff. Because we do know that in Power Book 2 Ghost season 3 or 4, Tariq is gonna eventually come to an understanding of what he did and be like, listen, I fucked up. This was wrong of me, and I should have never done that and stuff. But personally, I think that the ending of Power season 6 could have went either way and stuff. Either you had Tariq shoot and kill Ghost, or Ghost actually goes to jail. Because the one thing about Power, it kind of like really defeats that purpose of the going to jail part. We keep seeing the dying part, but we haven't quite seen the actual you going to jail and the charges actually stick. And the only time those charges actually stuck was when the Jimenez cartel and most of the like the underlings who was working with the Jimenez like went to jail, like Cristobal, You know, he went to jail, and some others like peoples that went to jail for stuff that they was actually committed of. But we saying like the key players. We saying like the key players that to actually go to jail and stuff for something that they actually did. So that's why I said Tariq, he's kind of like in the middle because he did kill Jabari, but he didn't kill Ramirez. So that kind of counts, but it doesn't count. But for Ghost and Kanan, you know, those was charges that didn't really, you know, amount to anything and stuff. Now, obviously, Kanan went to jail for a longer time, but we kind of don't really know what Tasha and Ghost did. You know, we don't really know what they really did and stuff until if we get like maybe a prequel or we get like some more story behind like what was the actual charges and what did they do to send Kanan away and stuff. So, I would like to know more about that later down the road. But yeah, man, like I'm kind of like interested on what do you guys think about this? Like, do you believe that it should have been maybe they both go to jail, right? Like one to protect, you know, Tasha because of Tommy, and then the other is to really get back at Ghost for all of the shit that he did and stuff. Because remember, Ghost promised Tariq that he was gonna take the rap for him. He was gonna go to jail. But then once when he was rising up to power, he's just like, you know, hold up. Maybe I don't have to go to jail for you. Maybe you go to jail. You know, I'll have the sentence be light on you because I'll be in a better position to help you rather than, you know, the opposite and stuff. But, you know, I don't know. I felt like he could have went to jail and it could have been quite interesting and stuff. Like they would have actually had like a communication. And then maybe at that time, he would have fully understood the lessons that he was teaching him, because as I said time and time again, Tariq is starting to understand it now, but you know, it's a little bit too late because, you know, Ghost is gone and stuff. But, you know, I want to know what you guys think about this. Me basically just discussing about a couple of things, you know, and you know, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know, I'll catch you all in the next one.